Hey everyone, recently purchased a 2022 Torque 371 and it came with this outdoor kitchen, and as part of the outdoor kitchen it had this Flameking stove that before I even tried it I thought it was pretty much useless because you can only put 2 small pans or maybe a small griddle on there, but really as far as an outdoor kitchen is concerned, I probably would never have used it. So I decided to go with something else, and that something else is what Torque is now offering on their 2023 models. They've got a separate little compartment, and they put a 25-inch, they call it grill and go, or griddle and go. So it's a 25-inch unit. It's a little bigger. It's more useful. You can grill steaks, hamburgers. You can do your bacon and your eggs for breakfast. So it's got a little bit more versatility. I've got a 22-inch Blackstone that I carried around in my previous camper, but it's big, bulky, takes up room, it weighs. And so this was to be able to put it in this outdoor kitchen. I looked at the space, I said it would fit. I've actually already done the project. I'm just showing you what I have done and what's capable of holding in here, and why, I don't know, Heartland, why they didn't do this to begin with. But anyway, start off with disassembling. Take the 2 knobs, just pull them off. You got 2 Phillips screws on top here. And you can take this top unit off. Below that, you've got some square-headed screws, which is pretty much all they use inside these campers now. And along with these 4 screws that hold this unit in, you've also got a gas fitting back here, which is 3/4 inch. You're going to need to take that loose before you can take the gas line off. And it's got a 6-foot hose that you have to pull out and attach to the outside quick connect fitting. And believe me, you're not going to be able to take this hose out, or you're not going to be able to take the unit out until the hose is disassembled. Then we'll just lift out of there, and now you're rid of the Flameking. Got 4 more screws on the back side to take the lid off. And this is sheet metal that's got plywood backing on it. Now, to show you what I did in here was that I measured the Greystone grill combo, and what I did, I cut out from the very front edge to the back is 20 inches and 3/16, and then from side to side is 25.5 inches. And then from the top surface down to my lowest portion in the front, I cut 2 11/16 of an inch to get down to there. So what I ended up with is this hole here, and my griddle fits in there perfectly. Now, of course, I had to put some angle iron, or actually it was aluminum angle, 1 inch on each side to hold it in position, but I wanted to leave a piece up here at the front so it's got some support. I didn't want to just cut this completely out and then end up having two sections here that would be flopping around. So I looked at what the inside support was, cut it right to there, and then the bottom pan that's on the griddle and grill combo will fit in here. But another thing I have is that at the back of this, where the gas connection, and you'll see right here where the quick connect connects up, was actually hitting the wood in the back, so I had to go back there, and I'll show you that. So I had to go back there and cut this out, and that is from this left edge. It's approximately 2 3/4 of an inch, and I went all the way through. That's 2 different layers of plywood back there. That's about 1.5 inches thick. So I cut back in there so that that fitting, along with the quick connect and enough length in there, I went over approximately 10.5 inches to give that gas fitting and the hose that's attached to it a little relief. So this is my unit, and I wanted to make it to where it's flexible enough or portable enough that I could use it here, but I also wanted to be able to take it off, and if I needed to set it on a picnic table or something like that, I could do that. It depends on how much you're cooking. This is also designed to accept a TV, and I was worried that if I'm sitting here cooking with this thing in the position it was in, how much heat was it going to generate? Was it going to melt anything? So the first thing I decided, I'm not going to cook with it in the stored position. So I have 2 pieces of 1-inch aluminum angle, and they're set 3 1/8 inch from this top. So from the very top edge down to the bottom lowest portion of the angle iron is 3 1/8 inch, and then each piece is 17 inches long, and I just got it attached with some self-tapping screws on each side. There is a little splash guard in there, so when you're grilling something, the grease drips not straight down but goes toward the center. So I caught just the top edge of that with this, and then on this side I had to kind of watch out because the first screw on the right at the very front is also right in there where this drip pan goes, so I had to kind of go in there and cut that off. You got a screw right here that holds both the grill and the griddle in place, and removed that, took both of those out so I wasn't fighting with that weight while I was dealing with this, and I was able to get in there with a pair of bolt cutters and cut the end of that screw off. And then the other 3, they don't interfere with anything in there. The other thing I had to deal with is because my unit, the doors have paddle latches on them, and those stick in, so I had to make sure that I was far enough in, because that paddle right there, or that latch, the back side of it, actually sits right over the top of this first knob. I also have it, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be using it in the stored position, so This is the stored position, the way that it'll sit in here when it's traveling. And then I've got a cotter pin that I use. I drilled a hole down through the angle iron or the angle aluminum, and so this will fit in here whenever I close it in. But when I get ready to use it, I'll pull this out and I just slide it out enough that the legs on the bottom catch on the front support. And of course I've got a little stool that I use, just makes it a little bit easier. I'm not having to reach up so far. So this gets it a little bit away from this back here. I don't know if I'll ever put a TV there, but I think it's really useful as far as doing hamburgers or whatever. Most of the time it's just me and my wife, but occasionally we do have our grandchildren that come with us. But still, I can do probably 8 hamburgers on here at a time. And as far as breakfast, I can do several strips of bacon, do my sausage, get the eggs done real quick, and it works very well on this griddle. It does have, even though the camper is level, I do have a little bit of a forward tilt to it, so all the grease does go to the drain hole easily. And if you had an issue with it, you could always put a washer or something under the back to tilt it up in the front, or tilt it down in the front, so it'll work a little better for you. And again, I've got access to my tray here when I need to clean it out, whether it's in the stored position or not. Another thing to be mindful of is that this griddle side of it, because it doesn't vent the heat out as much as it does over here, this right side will get somewhat hot. It hasn't got to the point yet that I've noticed that it's heated this metal surface up to where it'll affect the little sink that it's got over here. It's just got a dump sink where you put water in there, you may wash something, clean some vegetables or whatever. But once you get through with it, it doesn't drain. You have to actually dump the water out of it. But even though I've noticed the aluminum over here has gotten hot, the side of it's gotten hot, it hasn't been hot enough that it's actually done anything as far as the plastic sink goes. So I just wanted to show everyone this. I love my tow hauler. I like the outside kitchen, but I didn't think that Flameking stove, other than using it maybe to heat up a small pot of beans or something, it just didn't look useful to me. That's all it had, I could do that on the inside. This makes it a lot more useful. And again, even if I'm concerned about the heat, you know, let's say I do have a television there and I'm concerned about the heat, then I can pick this up and I can go set it on a separate table, the picnic table or whatever. Still have it connected up, because instead of the 6-foot hose, I've got a 10-foot hose. So it's a little bit more useful to me to be able to have this. And I didn't see anything on the internet. When I was looking, after I did some measurements, I said, hey, I know that'll fit. I thought about putting it on drawer slides. I thought about a lot of different ways, and this just ended up being the simplest thing. It sits on here. Again, I can put it in the stored position. I do put the pin in it when I'm traveling, just because, you know, if something was to happen and the door was to come open while I'm going down the road, I don't want this thing bouncing out on the highway. But thanks for watching. Appreciate it.